The reason we're doing this is because Illinois is at risk of experiencing power shortages, and we're also facing skyrocketing energy costs in the very near future. Illinois energy demand will outpace our supply as early as 2030. Battery storage is needed to reduce that probability and the expense.
Premature to aim at shuttering coal plants?
I don't think so.
Resource, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. You know, this is part of a transition, okay? And a lot of coal plants, every coal plant in Illinois, except for municipally owned coal plants like Prairie State and Springfield, were already scheduled to close before we passed CEJA. They're just not economical, cost a ton to keep up. They were all NRG, Vistra owned all the private coal burning generators in the state. They were all scheduled to close. So that was happening before CEJA. That's happening in other states. Illinois isn't the only state where that's happening in. What we tried to construct with CEJA is a ramp to deal with that. The main way we tried to do it was with a lot of renewable generation. One of the things that's been very frustrating to that is we have a 4 or 5 year line for renewable generation to get onto the grid. So that's a problem. We're having the traditional fossil fuel generation going down, and what we thought would be an increase in renewable generation being blocked essentially by the transmission organizations that Illinois is divided into. So, and now add to this, when we did CEJA, no one ever talked about data centers. It wasn't something we considered at all. So the ground has really shifted, and we need to come up with new ways to deal with this, and really storage is an essential part of that. And that's what this bill's about.
Solar is, of course, being promoted all over, and wind, of course, but here's the thing, the battery storage. So there is definitely a lack of battery storage in the state of Illinois and the United States. So it is an important factor that we have more battery storage. But here's what I want to give you. As far as that report that they gave this morning, that they want to go ahead and push getting rid of coal. Well, let me tell you, right now in the MISO grid, coal is producing 23% of the power today of the energy. Natural gas is 18%, nuclear is 9%, solar is 10%, and wind is 4%. So wind and solar are an important part of the mix, but if you get rid of coal today and carbon, you get rid of that footprint today, you just turned your lights off. You just turned your power off. You turned your heat off. So this is so premature. And the other thing is coal has never been cleaner than it is today. And I've been down in coal mines. My best friend was superintendent of a coal mine, and they've never been cleaner, safer. And so now is not the time to get rid of it. It's part of the mix. And if we think it's not, our head's in the sand.
Is there a dollar figure that we can expect in subsidies to go towards this?
I think it's unclear. It depends on certain factors. So that's at this point unclear, unless
but there
other
would be
folks have.
some level of subsidy.
There is an upfront cost to the investment, and so there is a charge. But again, as we're seeing this summer, the capacity price spikes. Some households paying upwards of $30. It's a massive the cost of doing nothing, the cost of allowing the capacity shortages to continue, or as they projected, will be much more significant in cost.
We subsidize and have in Illinois for years the development of solar and wind generation with upfront costs that are charged to ratepayers. So there's a small upfront cost, but that has a price suppression effect in the long range.
All these different things these initiatives that are being pushed, it's with subsidies. The subsidies go away, then where are we at? And the other thing is, what are we doing with solar? With amazing farmland, we're losing that to solar. So there's some things, actually Senator Bryant, when she went overseas last year and looked at some things where they actually have the solar panels up in the air so they can still have grow some things under those solar panels. So there's a lot of different things going on, but now is not the time to get rid of coal. That's not the time. And so we're still working to keep that initiative going. You know, I live in a black and white world, and so you've got to have answers, and those answers got to be something that you can look at and you can evaluate, not just have these theories or these ideas.